Good evening, viewers. Today we are again in the studio having our second episode of teenage pregnancy, and we are looking at what are some of the areas that as a society we need to focus on when discussing the issue of teenage pregnancies. This is an issue that touches each and every society today, be it in the town setup, be it in the rural setup, be it each and every homestead. We are dealing with this issue of our teenage girls or our teenage pupils getting pregnant. When I talk about teenage, I'm talking about the age bracket of 13 years to 19 years. Why are we having a 13-year-old pregnant? Why are we having a 14-year-old pregnant child? So in the studio today is my co-host,
Penina.
And on my right side, we have our female artist in Malindi, one who is also known so much, has been a vocalist in talking about teenage pregnancies within the Kilifi County, and none other than
Pokomo Princess.
Pokomo Princess. On my left is our pastor, who is also going to give us an overview today of what is the church involvement, or how can the church come in to help us understand the teachings, or to help us understand that why are we having teenage pregnancies, that in some cases we even see them happening within the youths, and the youths who are also in the church. So please welcome Pastor Martin.
Thank you, Reverend Martin. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So if I would start by just explaining something, that today in the world we are actually having a serious problem, and our serious problem is the problem of our young girls. And as I explained it before, I'm talking of an age limit between 13 to 19. Though at the age of 18 they say they are adults, but you see an 18-year-old girl giving birth and you are a parent, still that is just a baby to you. So if I may just ask Pokomo Princess, that what do you think is the main reason why we are having these cases of a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old girl getting pregnant?
I think in that way we can look in many aspects. I think most of the children, they lack some religion education, and also some few education from the parents. And also right now the world is also changing, so even thinking of the child is different like before.
So that could be one of the reasons why you feel we are having this number of cases increasing.
So
do you feel like there's a breakdown of information from the child to the society, to the kids, to the parents?
I think I can break down with what I've already said, because I think I didn't elaborate. I just put it the key point. When I say like as a parent, most of us parents, I'm in the age of parent now.
Yes.
Most of us parents, for me, I still believe in God, but most of us parents, they've lost their faith in the churches because of many things that have happened. That's why I normally say church is not the synagogue. You just have to believe yourself in God. So most of them, they just lost faith. So them losing faith from the church, the children, when they give birth to them, the children lose the way of going to the church. When we were growing, we were going to the church. So that causes for the child not to have more about God and understanding more about the religion. And the aspect of the parent, most of us parents these days, we fail in many ways because we look at the aspect of how can I get money faster? So we've put on more responsibility on our kids, the ones who have grown up. And most parents, the parents that don't want to work more harder for their kids. So most of them, they put more responsibility on the children. So the children, sometimes they want to, it's like maybe they want to help the parents. So they go beyond what they are supposed to do as kids. So they start like, they get older people, they get sponsors, something like that. And also, there's also the part of the child not getting enough advice from the parent and peer groups. So you see your friend has this, and you try to find out how did they get it. So it leads to that. Yeah.
Pastor Mani, what is your opinion on this case? Because this is becoming a problem in the society today.
Thank you. I think the teenage pregnancy is a big issue, particularly in Kilifi. I was just reading about the statistic that was posted by the some of the government agency.
Yes.
And it's amazing that they was in one of the statistics they were saying that out of 4 girls, 1 will either get pregnant in the course of their teenage period. So that one is a strong warning.
Yes, out of 4.
Out of 4.
1 will.
One,
Yes.
And in 2023, there were around 4,000 cases.
Yes.
That were were pointed out in Kilifi alone.
Kilifi County, yes.
So Kilifi is leading in terms of teenage pregnancies.
Yes.
But there are many underlying causes of that should be addressed, and one of them some of them have been mentioned already. I just want to say that one of the main cause of teenage pregnancy is parenting, poor parenting. There is intentional parenting, and there's just I'm parenting because I have children. The intentional parenting is that you purpose to parent. So many of the parents are around the urban center and even in the villages. There's no that intentional parenting. You just leave the children without taking care of them, without educating them. And another issue is pertains to retrogressive cultural practices within our people, and this need to be addressed. There are culture practices that are so much harmful to the girl child and has contributed to girls getting pregnant at a younger age. That's an issue that has contributed when girls are being lured to marriage with the blessing of the elders. That is a culture that should not be celebrated. It should be condoned at all cost. And the third major issue is lack of coordinated effort, both the religious and even the government agency, to fight, because this issue need a joint effort to work it out. So if there is no joint effort to curb it, then it will go. And one of them is on parental, is that I don't know. We feel like talking about things to do with sex and sexuality to our children. And so these children with a lot of curiosity.
Do we still have these conversations right now? Do we still have sexuality conversation with our teenage boys and girls in the society today?
To a conservative parent,
yes,
they will not talk about sex or sexuality. In fact, they think that when they talk about sex and sexuality to their children, they are more like ushering them to this kind of
you are giving them an information that they shouldn't have.
So they want to talk about it. And even in our schools, it is not that more elaborated. Thanks be to the new curriculum,
Yes.
that now they are more talking about these issues. But sexuality in an African setup, it's still an
It's
issue.
not something that should be
And does
discussed.
this
Yes.
discussion happen in church?
Yeah, in church forums, we are trying our best to have a forums talking with the children, talking with the youths, particularly to the youth conferences and the youth camps. We share them, and we actually set a professional that talk with them. And as parents also, we talk with them on this issue. I know there are some religious leaders who think that when they talk about sex and sexuality, it is a sin, which is
It's not something that they can have a discussion on the synagogue on a Sunday. But let me take you back. I remember when we were young, there was the Sunday school. And the Sunday school was so much of a teaching on how we can live as sisters and brothers. And this is something that I think mentored a number of us when we were young at that time. Because going to church, then we were still at an age that the only thing we know is anybody close to you, that was your sister and this was your brother. And this was trying to bring up. Do we still have this in the churches today? Do we still have a part of the Sunday school with the teachers who are designed to cover these topics to the teenagers? And also we have the main service, which now they can either join. Yes. Do we still have this being practiced in most of the churches today?
We do have, but we also have to realize that the dispensation that we're living in,
Yes.
there are many teachers, apart from even the traditional Sunday school teachers, the technology, the children learn many things, even through just the social media and all the rest. So the traditional modeling of children should be done. But you see, the issue that I was saying, that the intentional parenting, when you just leave your children that you don't take care of them, you don't want to mold them to be the great men in the future, then it becomes a problem to the entire society. So
How do you feel like we should handle this issue? Because we cannot keep these kids away from technology. The kids have phones, which are very important for their studies and also for communication, but we don't know what they do with the phones when they're not around. So does the church allow these kids to come up with the relevant questions and ask? Is it open for discussion?
as a church, we give our best. And even through the training of other church leaders, so that they will be able to combat these issues that are arising. But through the only way we can get the kids is through the seminars and the camps. And
there are really camps these days. I remember when we were growing, there used to be this camping, the good teachings, and we were all teenagers, boys and girls. But these days, I don't know if there are, and if there are, it's not as strong as before. Yeah. And also, I can say also as a parent, of course, you have to tell the child everything, and then you give them a decision to decide. Because even me, as I was growing, my father will tell you this is wrong, this is right. Then he'll let you decide. But you, as a child, you know, if I decide this, my father won't be happy, and I don't want my father not to be happy. So you'll go with what he has told you. This is okay to do, this is wrong. So I think we can tell our children this is right, this is wrong. Then we have the faith in them. We have to trust them that they can choose the right decision.
I want us to look at something. I want us to look at the education system that we have today. And that is where we have the biggest challenge. Do we believe that the education system we have today is able to impact our teenagers and even the mothers in general? Are they being impacted with the very knowledge that can now allow them to bring their children in the right way? Or is our system still lacking certain things that need to be adjusted?
I think he said that they have to be a collaboration. So it's the parent, the system of education, that's the teachers, and also the government. The government should look at the aspect, how are they affecting the parents and the school in general. You know, right now everyone is talking about the economy. The economy, the taxes, it's affecting the parent, it's affecting the teacher in school. So it's them being affected, it's causing extra, it's affecting more to the students. So I think we have to have, in collaboration with the parent, the government itself, it has to look into the people and the parent, the interest also of the parent, because the children are for the tomorrow. It's not just for today. So it's any collaboration.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are from the coast region.
Yes.
That is in Tana River.
Yeah.
My co-host here is also from the coast region. When you look at the coast region in general, it's one of the leading. Now, I want to put this as a woman, as a young lady growing up within this area.
Yeah.
What are some of these challenges that you feel has been able to expose these teenage girls more than any other county as we can see today? Let me start with you.
Okay, just like I've said, the children, mostly peer groups has led to that, and also peer raising of the children as a parent, putting more responsibility to some kids, na hata kijana kitu muulize ametoa wapi. So as a parent pia we are failing, and collaboration pia mwalimu na parent. Before, when we were growing, our parents, mwalimu akisema your child did this and this, mzazi anashika ya mwalimu mwanzo, asema mchape, unachapwa, kisha baadaye akijua lakini anajua ilikuwa sivyo, lakini ushapata punishment. So wazazi wa siku hizi, we listen to our children more than listening to yule mtu mzima. So hiyo pia we are failing as a parent. So hakuna ile collaboration in parent. Yeah.
On my side, I think the biggest problem comes with parenting. The way these kids are being brought up. Because before we even bring the church and to bring the government in, we had the kids are in the houses with us. So who is teaching them morals? Because most of the time the kids don't listen to what we tell them to do. They look at what we do. So if my ways are not right, I don't expect my kids' ways to be right. If I'm living a very terrible life, I have multiple sex partners, I don't expect my child to do anything different. They'll go the same way. So before we even ask the government and the church to collaborate with the parents, we need to know first, what are the parents doing to make sure that these kids are going on the right way.
Pastor Martin, you mentioned poor parenting, and this is one area that I believe, I don't know whether it's been so well discussed, because when we talk of poor parenting, there are several challenges that comes with poor parenting. You realize that today, our lady here has also mentioned a very key factor, that there is the economy, which is on the higher side. So 80% of our parents today are living below the upper class, whereby you realize most of them would wake up in the morning and want to struggle to put food on the table. Now, at the end of the day, these are teenage girls who are about 3 in the house or 4 in the house. He or she or the mother is not able to attend to them emotionally, and maybe the key approach the parents are giving is, how can I put food on the table? So when we talk about poor parenting, are we able to define it so that we understand to which aspect are we talking about? Are we talking about the aspect of, I'm able to sit down my kids and have a sexuality discussion with them? Or is it because I'm not able to provide as a father and my kids are exposed outside here, or as a mother and my kids are exposed outside here? So what exactly did you mean by poor parenting?
Okay. I think parenting is to be there for your family.
Yes.
Both the father and the mother, they need to be there, that they will walk with the kids as they grow up. And also, parenting means that you have to take the responsibility as a parents. You have to provide. You have to make sure that your children have the basic needs. That is parenting. Even with the hard economic situation in our country, the parenting role is still needed on us. There's no way that we can say that now, because of the economic situation, I cease to be a father or I cease to be a mother. You need to work with them. Some of the issues that even these young girls make themselves go, even involve themselves into sex at that tender age is because of the poor parenting that is demonstrated either to one partner. You may find that the mother is there with the kids, but the father is missing in action. And so when the father is missing in action, he cannot even provide for the basic needs. Look, for example, the Kilifi County. It is being said that it's one of the leading in terms of child tourism along the beaches. What is propelling the young people to go there is because they are seeing the poverty at their home level. Either the father is involved in drinking to the extent of neglecting the family, and so the child feels that he or she needs to take the burden, to ease the burden either to the mother, and they end up going there. So parenting is it means that you need to work with them, even when there is no financial strength, but you need to be with your children. You need to direct your children. You need to teach them the good morals. You don't expect somebody to teach you. It starts with you as a parent. So I think parenting is very key when it comes to helping the children to together.
So I think both two they fall on the same, like the moral, good moral, and also on the not able to provide for the child. Both of them, but I think the biggest one is the moral. Yeah.
You mentioned poor peer influence.
Yeah.
And you see now these days, the kids get groups.
Yes.
And these groups, they can even have them through the access of their phones, which as parents, we've decided to buy phones for them.
So that comes from the poor moral.
Yes. So when they can be able to access and have conversation on these phones, my co-host here said, we are not able to control what they are able to access within the internet. But I remember there's a way, as a parent, you are able to control that.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a system that you're able to control what your children can access through the internet. So this is not where I give us an excuse that we say we can no longer control, but if they're within your reach, you are able to control that. But again, let us look at it in this bigger picture. The bottom line is one. I have 3 teenage girls in the house and 2 teenage boys in the house. As a father, as a mother, are we able to open a sexuality debate or a sexuality conversation whereby we confront these issues one by one? Is this where the community has failed as at now, in your own opinion? Is this where the community has failed?
As a parent, you just can't come from nowhere and call the child, come, I tell you about this and this, it's wrong. First, the parent has to learn how to be good friend with the child while they were growing. And when you are so close to a child, it's easy to talk things out. But if the parent is like a business person, always not timing with the children, you'll never be successful in that area.
So you also bring in the aspect of how close are we with our kids?
Exactly.
Is there a vacuum between me and my daughter, me and my sons? Is there a barrier between whereby we can no longer have a constructive conversation with them? So
That's
this
very
is also
important.
a major problem that is coming in. Yes.
And how do we build this relationship between a parent and a child?
Okay, if a child is already grown, it's difficult to made it up. But when a child is growing, like he said the parent has to be there, but you have to know how to be close to your child, because your child can be the father and you can be the mother at the same time. You can be like a friend to your children. That's how I was raised. You can sit down with your kids, you can make jokes, you can laugh, you can have games. So that is a time of bonding. If there's that bonding with the parents and the child, it's easy even to open up to the child and tell them things and they understand. Yeah.
Now, Pastor Martin, you mentioned something which was very crucial in our discussion today, whereby you said missing parents in the family of a child or in the life of a child contributes a lot. We have cases of single mothers, single fathers in the society today. Do we in any way now come up and say, because a father was not there, this child didn't access everything he or she wanted? Or is there a way we can still say, it's okay, this is the situation that we find ourselves, but still I need to bring up my kid in the right moral way? So is there a way that this discussion can still be held, whether you are a single parent, whether you are a single father or a single mother? Are we still able to bring this conversation on board with our kids?
Thank you. One of the few things that I've noted with the single mothers, those who have come across in the churches, they are very strict. And actually, when you check on their kids, they are more disciplined. But for the one that have come on contact with in the church, they are more intentional in terms of their parenting. Maybe because you see, being a single parent, sometimes it's not your wish. You have found yourself there. And they know definitely that the only best thing that they could do is to be with their children. But for the one that maybe because of failed marriage, because of many issues that arise in a relationship, most of the times you find that either these kids will go through trauma in their life, and this affects them in one way or another. And because of maybe neglect of neglect of one of their parents, they may end up getting into these issues. But in all ways, we expect that, be it you are a single parent or you are both parents, you need to train your child in the best way possible, so that your child will know. And I like what the leader saying, that in family there's bonding. There's no way you can talk with your children about sexuality or sex when you have not bonded with them. And then you cannot wait until when they are old, and then that's now we want to talk about sexuality. Even your children will be curious about you. So you need to start building from early age, that even as girls grow up, they're able to share with their mother that this is what is changes that are in my body, all these things that the boys are able to share with the father, and they're able to help them to understand that, you see, if you do this and this can bring you some problem in your life. So both that one, even to the married or to the single, they need to do that.
Please.
And sometimes you come across some troubled families, like a complete family, a husband, wife, and kids. But now there is a bit of turbulence in the marriage. So this emotional baggage, does it affect the kids to an extent of them wanting to engage in some activities that are not their age?
What I can say is both parents, even if they have arguments, they should keep it away from the kids. Because for me, since I was born, I never saw my mom fighting. I never knew when they were angry with each other. So it has to be private between both parents. If they fought, they should involve the kids. Yeah.
So it's not be like we having it publicly, be in front of the kids.
But is it happening right now?
It is happening.
People are fighting in public.
Yeah, it is happening.
How does that affect the kids? For them to now start losing hope in the parents and start going out in the society looking for advice.
Definitely, it will affect the emotion.
The child would like to go and find somewhere peaceful.
Yeah.
So that's where you'll be losing your child. Yeah.
So thank you so much. Now we want to look at some of the effects, because you see every action has the effect of it.
Yeah.
Now, in some cases, and in the major part of it, you realize that teenage pregnancies has never ended well with the teenagers.
Yeah.
Because even the society or even the parents, they are never ever ready to deal with the outcome. And that is now where the biggest problem comes. Because one, a teenage girl getting pregnant today, one, it will disrupt their education. So one thing I want us to agree, or one thing I want us to talk about, why is pregnancy disrupting education system of a teenage girl? Why do we accept as a society to say it's okay, amepata mimba, wacha kae nyumbani? Why do we conclude? I believe today the education system, they are allowed to go to school.
They are allowed.
Even in secondary schools, they are allowed to go to school. So
They're
if they are
allowed,
allowed
but if
to go to school,
if maybe she will be bullied or something.
yes. Now that is now how is the kid going to deal with all this? But
Yeah.
first, as a parent, what are we going to do if you come home today and you realize that your teenage daughter, who is 14 years old, pregnant, is 14-year-old is pregnant? What are you going to do as a parent? Now, this is one way whereby we need to find out, like, really, do we need to stop the education system? Do we need to interrupt the education system for this? Or do we need now to push them away and say, now you are no longer my child? I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. So where is this girl going to go to? You are mad in the house. You've chased her out of the house. Where is she going to go to?
I think.
Is this not what kids are saying? That now we are giving them an opportunity to now get married. You see? Now the norms and the
I think
tradition and the practice.
the first thing you can do is it's hard for a parent, of course, very difficult, I can imagine. But the first thing you can try to be on the side of the child, and you can advise the child on it, and you can tell him kurudi kosa si kosa, kurudia kosa ndio kosa. In that way, I think the first, if the child knew you are on her side, any advice you give her, she will listen.
She will listen.
Yeah.
Yes, Pastor Wale.
The way we have been brought up, the way our parents used to tackle the issues, that when a girl will get pregnant, she will be condemned. To the society, the entire society will condemn her. And she will be seen as not worthy again.
And they'll have to find the man,
Yeah.
and they will marry
And
the
most
girl.
of the time, the man will not be condemned.
Yes.
The man in their home, he may be appreciated.
Oh, the man will say,
Celebrate.
no, the man will say, no, I didn't give her pregnancy.
She got pregnant.
Yeah, she said she had many boys.
So
And that would be
the role of our parents, particularly Christian parents, the first thing that these children need is love, acceptance, and understanding. As simple as that. When you love them, you show them, okay, this has happened, but you are still part of us. We love you. Then the child will feel part of the family. She will not be having this kind of maybe suicide thoughts or I had a girl who committed suicide.
Because she was pregnant.
Yeah, 2020.
How old was she?
She was in class 8. And she just committed suicide because she was condemned by the immediate family. And she just did that.
I don't want to see you leave my compound. Now, where is this guy? Where is this young girl going to?
You know, our parents were like that.
Yes.
And that's why we were very careful not to do those mistakes.
But among us, there are people who made mistakes.
Yeah, but the parents never chased them away.
But the parents never chased them away.
Yeah, even if they used to tell them, the parents never chased them away, they accepted.
They accepted it.
And when you look at the life of the person that did the blunder, but they were accepted and
Yeah.
it was taken well by the family.
But before you
They
do
supported
it-
them. And you look at the life where the person that did it was shunned away by the family. They chased her away. Whose life is better?
But I think they rarely chased them away, although they used to tell us, if you get pregnant, I don't want to see you. But it was very hard to see a parent chasing away.
Chasing away might be hard, but at the same time, you see the kind of treatment that they receive in the home after the incident. It's changing.
Yeah.
So this affects the child emotionally, psychologically, because this has already happened. How do you deal with it?
I want us to look at this thing in a very honest way, in a very realistic way, so that we find an holistic approach to this. If today in the society, a 14-year-old girl gets pregnant, I want us to be honest. First, the society is going to judge the entire family.
Yeah.
That is the first thing. Second, the mother will not even want to move outside there and work with other women like she used to do. Then the child herself will start by having withdrawal syndrome, will start having psychological stress and having emotional stress, and she's actually going to disconnect further with the family if the families are not keen. The father, on the other hand, is going to play the role of the lion, which he is going to attack the mother plus the child. You get my point? Now, one single mistake of a child is entirely breaking the entire family. The entire family is shaken. At this point, who is supposed to hold things together? At this point, who is supposed to hold things together?
The mother.
How is the mother going to hold this when the mother does not even want to approach the father? The father is to. I've had those situations where the father says, okay, just go and tell your dad. Find a way of how you're going to tell your dad. Now tell me, if your mother is telling you at part 14, and you know your dad is seriously a difficult person, then your mother said, for me, I'm not going there. You
I
find a
can
way of
still
going
say
to
the
talk.
mother is the one
Yes.
who is supposed to talk. The mother.
I think both parents should be able to.
I mean, the mother is supposed to calm down the husband
Yeah.
so that they can come with an understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually men will react very strong
Yeah.
because men, maybe their daughter.
We start blaming the you take your daughter.
Take your daughter.
They will do that.
No,
But I think the
a mother can never say take your daughter. If it's a son, you can say take your son. But a daughter, you can say you can never say take your daughter.
You
A
will not
mother
be
will
doing
be very much depressed. I'm talking this out of
But
experience.
the first response is, if I will be depressed, but I know for a fact, the first response when I meet the mother will be like, you see, your daughter. You see, your daughter.
But at this point, I think this is where the intentional parenting comes in.
Yeah.
Because if you're intentional as a father, you did everything, you did your best. You join forces with the wife to take care of the kids. If something like this happens, you have no one to blame. Because you know you both did your best.
Pastor Martin, is this the time that we need to go to the church and now bring the pastor into the house and say, but we are in a situation here, we don't know how to handle
No,
this.
that's a wrong approach.
There is this here, there is this here, there is this here, and I think everything is just breaking down because someone has to remain sober in all this scenario. The child is here, closed herself in the room. The mother is there and the father, they can't sit down and talk. The rest of the children are not even, they're even worried.
I can still
What is going to
insist
go on?
this is a family matter. You both have to come to an agreement before you call a third party.
But you find that most of the time when this thing happens, like past pastor, we know definitely because they are part of our members, and so whenever such a thing happens, definitely there will be rumors that will be going around, and I think the church biggest input in such a situation is one counseling, maybe to the parents to accept the situation as it is, and also to counsel the girl, and even to help in terms of seeking legal ways, because the child may be too young that needs some legal redress. Even the parents may not be able to know. So the church has that role to help the parents, and the church also has to show love both to the parents and even to the girls, so that we don't condemn them, because if the church can condemn, then they will see that their wall is falling down. So we have a role. Yeah, whenever such a thing happens, the church has to love,
To take it.
has to do the counseling that is needed, because this girl is going through a lot of trauma. And if she doesn't get a good counselor, that will just shut her life.
That will shut her life. So we believe it's something that we can still handle as a family. But if the need of a third party, which could be the pastor, could be a counselor elsewhere, can bring peace in the family. But now, the teenagers, as we all know, these are guys that at some point, they will never even talk to their parents. Just like my prophet said here by saying, sometimes that disconnection, they don't come and speak. You might get the information from the teacher or from a fellow friend of yours who will tell you, hey, why is, have you noticed this with your daughter? So when you get down to find out what is happening, you realize it is bigger than you thought. And this is where now I want to ask a question. What is the involvement of the hospital that we have around? Are we involving the hospitals in the right decision making, or are the hospitals also a problem to what we have in the society today?
The hospital?
Yes, the clinics that we have around.
Okay. You see, like issues to do with girls that are under 15, I think they need also the medical help.
Yes.
Facility. I mean, the health workers advice on how to go about it. And that initiative should be started with the parents to help the girl, or maybe the counselor or somebody that the girl will be able to expose the whole situation. Because without the hospital or the clinic, I think we will be in a big trouble.
Yes.
Me, I can say there are these talks zenye wanga zinakuwa in schools. At home pia you can sit down with your kids. Lakini pia it's like a seminar, but not really a seminar for schools sometimes. I think if they are being held, it's good. Asa hizo za churches, hizo camping. So within those times, kukuwe na times for education upande wa health. Alafu kids will be told. I think when we were growing, there used to be this thing. Kwa tunaambiwa kwamba HIV, something like that. Yeah. I think hizi zikiwa more in schools. Manake mzazi, a parent is able to give what she's about to give. But when the child goes to the school, she's not at home. Na kuna vitu zingine ana learn from outside, especially the borders.
Yes.
So pia hizo seminars shule about health nini, it's very important. So yeah, of course the hospital is needed in it, yeah.
And I also had some cases of teenagers being put on contraception.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
It's a controversial issue because I know the Catholic they are more resistant on that. And not only even the child, the parents are the ones sometimes who engage their girls through this contraception. But I think it should be done in a very wise way that will not endanger the life of these girls, and even in their future to get children. We have had cases of that they could not get children because of getting early to this contraception.
But do you think there should be a conversation? There should be a conversation on the use of contraceptive.
Yeah.
Because I believe that if you give a teenager contraception, it's like you're giving them a green light to go out.
We should tell them you are still young. Abstain.
If now they are preventing themselves from getting pregnant. So they can go sleep around. But are they preventing themselves from having all these STDs? They are not. Why would they be allowed to have the contraception if we are trying to stop them from having sex?
That's why I'm saying this is an issue that sometimes being led even by the parents themselves. I've had cases that parents will tell their girls before they go back to school, you need to get an injection. That's the, you see. So when the parents lead on that, now unajipata kwa shida sana.
Yeah, when you anapeana the medication, should they also be condemned?
I think,
because these contraception, they don't only come from the chemist or the pharmacy.
I want to look at it this way. I want us to look at it this way. That we build relationship with our kids. And here we are talking about the girls.
Yeah.
Because contraceptives are being used with the girls. We as parents, we know our daughters.
Yeah.
I know what my daughter is capable of.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest as a parent that what do I do? Do I talk with my daughter and prevent what is supposed to happen? Or do I wait for it to happen and now we have an issue here? And this is where now I said, at some point, we need to have an holistic approach, whereby we find solutions before a problem occurs.
Yeah.
Now, bringing in contraceptive at some point is based on how honest a conversation was held between a teenage and a guardian or a parent and a medical practitioner. Because sometimes you people understand these kids. A mother will just come clear and say, if we don't do this, I'm seeing a problem here. So the best they can sit down and say, it's okay, even if you're going to do it, then now do this. Because if we don't have, and that's why we started by having this conversation of saying, how well are we able to understand our kids? So that if we understand, then you know what your kid is capable of doing. Whether you hide your heads where, but you know this problem will come my way because I know my daughter. So this is where the contraceptive issues.
So you give them advice
crucial,
and you
yes.
let them choose.
Yes. Tell them,
The question that remains is, what are we protecting them?
we are yes, of
Are
course
we protecting
we've
them
accepted
from
the fact.
pregnancy, or are we
You have to have
protecting them
faith in
You
them.
see, the problem
from
is
diseases?
No.
the problem is
You tell them,
Yes.
leave umbichi.
yes,
Then you
yes.
leave them to choose.
You see, I can tell you for a fact, at the age of 15, most of the girls are very exploitive at that age. You cannot, at this time and era, you can imagine that your 17-year-old daughter is still a virgin. You know, this is now a reality that we are talking here.
Yeah.
It is a reality. So the best part is, if you've had a conversation, of course you will see her behavior. You will see her behaviors in the house, and you will know yourself for a fact and say, this one is already doing this. So how can I come in clear and say, it's okay, I know you are doing it, I know you are doing it. Because the first thing I can no, I'm not doing it. But I know but are you taking care of yourself? How do I take care of myself? That is when now you bring in all this. And even the boys, if you have to go down this road, this is why the condoms were manufactured. And this is why the contraceptives were manufactured.
Yeah.
So this is the time we need to have that conversation.
You see, as a church, what we teach is about purity.
Yes.
To the young people, that they should be able to live a life that is pure before they get into marriage.
Marriage, yes.
We know down the line there are some people who will go on their own way and engage in all this issue, but we not like us to point them to what is more like is exciting them for that thing.
Yeah.
We just tell them, okay, this is how God desires that you live as a young person.
As a young person, yes.
And if you choose to go the other way, know that there are consequences and that God is not pleased with your life.
In your life,
So
yes.
we are more not going to advocate that they will be able to take all these contraceptives, because I can imagine that telling my son that to see if you cannot control yourself, then there's a box of condoms. I think that will just
They are giving up already as a
that's
parent.
just like giving a
That's the point I was coming.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot tell your child, because I know you're going to do this. Now, can you go get contraceptive? I just don't want a grandchild. Are you protecting them by giving them?
Let
You're not.
me put it down this way. Let me break it down this way. As a parent, you will understand your kids. The teachings of the church are there, and the teaching of the church tells them remain pure and this. But have we had cases of them being pregnant, even in the church?
yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
In the house here, you've done well as a parent. You've educated your daughter, you've molded her up through. But remember, this child is also dealing with adolescence issues and the rest. And they are also getting peer influence and the rest. So they are also making decisions of their own. So will you hide something that you know can save a situation just because you feel, I don't want to start by imagining that this is happening? Or will you rather have a conversation? You are not telling her, no, it is there in the box. No. But will you have that conversation so that akuwe tu in mind that in case I want to do this can help me, rather than not give that information. You know, use of contraceptive is one, not you are telling a child go use it, but bring it to her attention or to his attention that he knows that if I'm going to go down and do this, I can use a condom. Or if I'm going to go down on this, I can use this.
But of course, you can't tell her in a young age to use that.
What is the precise or what is the best age for you that you can talk about this with your children?
I mean, you can't tell a child at 13 to use a contraceptive. You try to tell a child at 13, you know, there's time for everything. Even the Bible says that. And actually, to be frank, you can't do two things at the same time. You have to tell a child that you should concentrate on one thing at a time. The boys won't go anywhere, even the girls, they always be there, new ones every day. So you concentrate on one thing at a time. That's what a parent mostly will try to tell the child. They'll tell you, yeah, there's sex, there's this and this, but this is not the rightful time for you.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think
Because you will ruin your life. If you get pregnancy, this and this and this, you just tell them the consequences and all that.
Exactly.
And I think with that education, most of the children will try to avoid doing that.
But some of them end up getting pregnant.
when we're also warning the young people, not warning them, letting them know, we tell them what comes as a result that they don't listen to this way. That not only pregnancy, there are diseases that you may encounter with, and your future may be ruined. So we give them the better part of it and the good part of it.
And also one point also, you as a parent, you can tell the child also, if you insist you want to see someone, make sure you introduce him or her to me and I know, and I can educate both of you. So that in that way it's easy. You can sit down with them and tell them the fact.
You're 14-year-old girl coming and saying, Mom, this is my boyfriend.
You can bring them both and you can educate them. You can tell them the cons and cons.
So at that time,
And at least you are giving them freedom of like being open to you. You see?
And
I'm on the same idea.
yes. You see, most of these marriages, the teenage marriages, they are not more of kind of these girls have purpose to have kids. They are being introduced, either went to disco matanga, they found themselves there, and the older men take advantage of them by just engaging themselves with these girls. Or you may find that these girls, because they are more curious, okay, what will happen if we like sleep with them? It's this, they don't have that
curiosity.
The curiosity. They don't have the knowledge of what may happen in terms of somebody engaging. Or they may have, but that curiosity, because of maybe not a comprehensive kind of sexuality, then they find themselves. Or peer pressure that you are just stating. And all these things, when you just somebody to that point, hata hiyo mambo ya concept haiko kwa akili yangu.
By the way, hata point ya peer pressure, it also depends on the parents. Umemfunza vipi mtoto wako a fight peer pressure? Because me, I used to hang out with crazy people, but I was not, ilikuwa sifuati tabia zao. Utakuta nimeshikana na mtu mwenye anaweza ibia mtu, but mimi si mwizi.
People are different.
Yeah, that's my point. As a parent, umemfunza nini yule child? Hiyo peer pressure isimuaffect. Kwa sababu of course kwa shule they are free. They can hang out with anyone.
Let me ask you guys this question. Who is to be blamed when a 15-year-old guy gets pregnant? Who is to be blamed?
Of course, we say the parent. First thing is the parent.
You want to blame the
responsibility
parents?
is the parent.
Why would you blame the child? The parents? Because after you've done all this, you've educated your child, you've had a good relationship with the child, but all the same,
It's the parent.
14-year-old girl gets pregnant.
Kwa
So
sababu
it's the
14-year-old still is a child.
It's a child.
Kitu ya kwanza. So you go under the parent. So first blame goes to the parent.
Parents.
Yeah.
I think we are to be blamed, including we, that all of us are involved.
Who is all of us?
All of us is that one.
Yes.
The child
the
too.
community, the moral value has gone down. Why will maybe an older person get intimate with a young girl? That means that the community is lowering its moral
It's down.
value. And us as parents also, we are failing in terms of educating our children things to do with the sexuality or parenting. So we are to be blamed. And also in terms of even the government sector and all other NGOs that are involved in, sometimes we take a lot of statistics and all these things, and then the implementation part of it is not being done. For example, in Kilifi, when government says that there is no visible matanga, it should make sure that that thing is adhered to. And then, even in the issue to do with the local administration, they should be like they make sure that they take care of these young girls in terms of when there is an abuse that should be reported to the relevant authority to take care of. So in one way, and this is what I started with, that if we are not going to work as a team, and even the church, we are to be blamed because sometimes we accuse, we condemn them. We don't take time to teach our children about all these things that are.
So in short, all of us, we fail in good morals,
We are-
in the churches, in the houses, in schools. So hiyo ndio inachangia.
I will mostly put the blame on the parent because when you give birth to a child, that's a clean canvas. You get a chance to now program the child. Now, how are you programming the child? And according to psychology or science, whichever it is, you can only program a child's mind up to 7 years. Past that, you can't do anything about it. So in these 7 years of this child's life, what are you putting in their head? What you're putting in there will drive them and lead them in their life to come.
Also put in mind that after that, they're exposed to the community.
But now
They're exposed to the family dynamics.
They will face the community with the programming that's already in them.
Yeah.
Even the Bible says, teach a child in the way of the Lord, and they will never depart from it. So the programming you put in the beginning, even if they make blunders, they'll still go back to the programming.
And that's why I was saying that when there is no absolute intentional parenting, that child
Nothing will work.
I believe this is a collective responsibility. When I say collective responsibility, the one who bears the most blame is the teenage herself. Because one, she has a responsibility to take care. The second one, I would put a blame on the parent and the guardian stroke the caregiver. The third one, I will also put blame on the educational centers, the educational institutions, because this child must have been a student somewhere or a pupil somewhere. And what are they teaching? Before I go again, I will also bring it back to blame a bit of the the peer influence. I'm not finished, the peer influence. I'll go back there. Then I will bring it down to the internet, the media and the social aspect of it. To what extent was this child exposed? And to what kind of items was this child exposed to? And then I will bring the healthcare at the last part. The reason why I will bring the healthcare at the last part is the healthcare plays a key role in terms of the adolescents, more so in the young ladies. And this is why there was a structure of a nurse and there was a structure of a social health worker. The social health worker were people who were able to reach these people and form a discussion groups with them so that they are able to bring in the nurses who are able now to tell them the physical changes in a woman in a teenage life. But again, if that part is not well covered, then you realize that they don't even know. But they should get that information from the teachers. They should get that information from the educational center. And that is why I say the educational center is in. But who carries the bigger burden is the teenage, because a decision was made. And this decision was made by the teenage that I'm going to sleep there and we're going to have this. And whoever is going to take the biggest responsibility is her.
Yeah.
That is my take.
Yes, men will see her and will all baggage will be laid upon her. But I think it's as you have stated, it's a collective responsibility, and even the school. Most of the schools sometimes don't allow these kids back, and
Because they don't want to be blamed.
yeah,
Yes.
and even because they will be stigmatized, and I think the school should arrange in a way that they're able to accommodate these kids back and even accept them so that they're able to complete their studies without much problem. So yes, it is a collective responsibility.
So the best way is to just having talks with a girl child and a boy child, more education on it, so to prevent from happening.
And also, charity begins at home. So let's start from home. Teach our kids right from home. And then the other aspects of the community will join the process as well.
It's good. Charity begins at home, but put in the aspect like some kids, they don't have home. Like easy homes, my team.
So that is why we bring in the aspect of the caregiver, the guardians in the
Even
picture.
in the children's home and everything, there are people taking care of this.
Their mothers.
Yeah, that's
We need
why
to take care of that.
talks
aspect
should be.
Yeah.
Yani there should be talks to the younger boys and the younger girls about this to avoid it.
And before we blame anybody, we need to know that these kids don't listen to what we say. They look at what we do and they imitate that. So as grown-ups, as the people who are bringing all this information in the society, what are we showing them? Because what we do is more important to them than what we say.
Another issue I think that should help to address this issue, the government part of it. There should be a policy when it comes to gender-based violence, a paper that address this issue because that falls within that part, so that any offenders, maybe any people that are maybe through the culture that are taking these young girls into early marriages, that they will be the measure will be strong on them. I think that will deter people to avoid this issue of taking young girls to marriages. Yes.
So viewers, thank you so much. We've tried to have a serious and engaged discussion on how and pinpoint also some causes of early age pregnancies that we have in the society today, and also areas where we feel fall short of, and things that we are able to adjust on, and things that we are able to take head on as parents. But the key aspect of parenting has come out quite clear, which I believe each and every viewer, each and every listener has already got a point, that parenting is key to dealing with this issue. The government policy aspect of it, the poverty aspect of it is also a kind of thing that also leads to certain percentage of how our teenage girls get pregnant. Of course, peer influence is also been mentioned there. But again, we will bring you more on this discussion so that we start looking at how can the society now stop? How can society now put a stop onto this, so that we bring in our young girls pure, like the Bible says, and also we make sure that at the end of the day, one falling into trouble, like one of our ladies said here, that to fall down doesn't mean you stay there. People make mistakes, but when you make a mistake, are you being condemned? So we also need to appreciate that if someone make a mistake, that is not the end of them. So let us not judge these teenage girls so harshly, whereby now we throw them out of the home, or we lead them into depression that will now make them also make very drastic decisions in order to survive. And that will also lead them to early marriages, which at the end of the day will bring more trouble into their life. So viewers, we're trying to look at an approach that will be able to help in terms of reducing the number of teenage pregnancies within the country, and particularly also within the Kilifi County.
And your contribution on this is also highly valued. So remember to leave your comment in the comment section down below. And let's continue this conversation.
So, your punchline to your viewers, as Pokomo Princess, as also an artist, as also a lady who really struggled to be where you are today, despite all the challenges. What can you tell that young girl outside there?
Young girl, our parents, okay, most of our parents are very correct. When they give us advice, we just have to listen to them. And don't rush into decision making on your own. You seek advice from your parents.
Pastor Martin, there are young boys outside there, but these young boys, they look down to you as a pastor. They come to the church and they have so much of depression. Some of them lack school fees. Some of them have a lot of, they saw their parents fighting in the morning and they come to the church and they believe today I'm going to get something out of the church. So what would you tell these young people on how to manage themselves to avoid having these troubles coming in their life?
Okay, thank you. As a young person, God has the best plan for you, and God wants you to live a more righteous life, a life that honors Him, a life that does not make you to be a stumbling block to others, and to intentionally live a life that you are purposed and you have a goal in your life. So we can avoid all these issues by engaging to things that can make us build more friendship with others and make us more productive in the society. Keep away from immoral life and live a life that honors God.
Thank you so much. I was your host today, Henry Akelo.
And I'm Penina Lauzi.
Thank you so much. Till we meet you again next time.